Tonight on SportsCenter, we're breaking down a crucial update out of New York, and it's one that could have a significant ripple effect on the Knicks roster. It involves extension talks, roster decisions, and what it all means for a longtime member of the team. So let's dive into what was laid out. As reported this evening, the Knicks currently have 3 players eligible for a contract extension. And what's surprising, most fans probably haven't even realized who they are. First off, Karl-Anthony Towns, who has been consistently linked to the Knicks in trade rumors. Then there's Mikal Bridges, though his name no longer matters in this category after recently inking a major extension. And finally, there's Mitchell Robinson, the longest tenured player on the team and one whose future now hangs in the balance. Let's talk about Robinson for a second. On one hand, yes, he was phenomenal in the postseason. He played with heart, anchored the paint, and reminded everyone just how much of a difference maker he can be. But there's the other side of the coin, the injury history. We're talking about a player who missed a large chunk of the regular season. And with every injury comes questions about his long-term availability and durability. Now, here's where the story really starts to shift. According to what was detailed tonight on SportsCenter, there's growing concern inside the Knicks organization about the cap implications of keeping Robinson long-term. The Bridges extension, combined with recent signings like Jordan Clarkson and Gershon Yabusele, has put New York dangerously close to the second apron. And crossing that line triggers major financial restrictions under the new CBA. The second apron isn't just about spending. It limits how teams can trade, sign, and structure deals. And the Knicks are now towing that line. So when it comes to Mitchell Robinson, they may be forced to make a decision, keep him and make cuts elsewhere, or move on to protect financial flexibility. What was made clear tonight is that Robinson is in a tricky position. He's coming off the most impactful stretch of his career, yet he may not be part of the long-term plan. Not because the Knicks don't value him, they clearly do, but because they simply might not be able to afford him without sacrificing elsewhere. Empire Sports Media reported that the Bridges extension could be what ultimately forces the Knicks to cut ties with Robinson. Think about that. One player's payday potentially ending another player's tenure. And while the core of this team might be held together for now, Robinson's future is definitely in question. The organization has no intention of breaking up the main unit, and that means someone on the edge has to become expendable. All signs are pointing to Robinson as that piece. So, what's the alternative? Developing youth, going younger, embracing cheaper contracts. The Knicks may have no choice but to shift their focus toward rookies and second-year players, the kind who can step into roles and produce without breaking the bank. Names mentioned during the show included Ariel Hukporti and Mohamed Diarra, 2 young bigs who could theoretically be developed into the next Robinson-style contributor. Think about it. Their rookie-scale deals are a fraction of what it would cost to retain Mitchell. From a front office standpoint, it makes all the sense in the world. And let's not ignore the elephant in the room. Even with load management, there's a general expectation that Robinson will miss games next season. Whether due to injury, rest, or conditioning, the team knows it needs a backup plan. So they'll be watching closely. Who among the young guys can hold their own? Can someone step in and prove they deserve a real rotation role? Now, let's circle back. Mikal Bridges has been extended. Karl-Anthony Towns, if he even arrives, likely won't get one anytime soon. And as for Mitchell Robinson, the Knicks are going to wait. They'll let the season play out, evaluate his health, his performance, and then maybe make an offer. It's a wait-and-see situation, and it could actually work in Robinson's favor if he plays lights out. But it also protects the team. If injuries creep up again, they've dodged a financial bullet. And if Robinson shows out, they still have options. It's a smart strategy from a cap perspective, especially as the Knicks navigate an era where every dollar matters under the second apron. At the end of the day, this team is a contender. They are right there, on the brink of something big, but to truly reach the top, every roster spot, every contract, every decision has to be measured, strategic, and flexible. And that's what this all comes down to. Can the Knicks afford to keep Mitchell Robinson in the new era of NBA finance? Picking up where we left off on SportsCenter, there's another layer to this Mitchell Robinson situation and the Knicks' long-term planning that needs to be addressed. When you're operating this close to title contention, when you have a roster capable of competing at the highest level, you're not just limited in what moves you can make. You're limited in the margin for error. Because here's the truth. When you're chasing a championship, it only takes one wrong contract, one misstep, or one bad injury decision to derail everything. All the work you've done to build something special can vanish instantly. That's why there's no room for panic moves, no rushing into the wrong extension. And when the right move presents itself, like it did with Mikal Bridges, you act decisively. Let's revisit that for a moment. The Bridges extension was a master stroke. New York locked him up for 4 years at a number below his maximum, an incredible value when you consider what he brings on both ends of the court. It wasn't just about keeping a key piece. It was about managing the books, avoiding the dreaded second apron, and preserving enough flexibility to build around their core, now and in the future. It mirrors exactly what happened with Jalen Brunson not long ago. He took less than his market value to stay in New York and help build something sustainable. Now, Bridges has followed that same playbook, and sources close to the team told SportsCenter tonight that this is becoming a trend. Star players are buying into the bigger vision. And credit where it's due, Leon Rose and the front office deserve massive praise. They're not just throwing money at stars. They're strategically convincing high-level players to commit long-term and take team-friendly deals, all in the name of one goal: multiple championships. That's the model. That's how contenders are built and maintained under the current CBA. And the Knicks? They've bought in fully. Which brings us to what odds makers are saying. FanDuel released updated title odds for the 2025-2026 NBA season. And guess who made the top of the list? Oklahoma City comes in first at plus 230, followed by the Cavaliers at plus 750. But here's the key part. The New York Knicks are right there, tied at plus 850 with Denver and Houston. That's elite company, and what that tells us is that Vegas sees the Knicks as a legitimate threat. Let's put that into perspective. When bookmakers are listing you in the top 3 or 4, it means your roster, depth, coaching, and financial position are all being recognized as elite. That doesn't happen by accident. Now, let's circle back to a key discussion that was brought up on SportsCenter earlier in the offseason. There had been whispers that Mikal Bridges wasn't extended right away because the front office was leaving the door open for a possible Giannis Antetokounmpo trade. But now that Bridges has officially signed that 4-year deal, that window is likely closed. At least for now. Why? Because under league rules, Bridges can't be traded for the next 6 months. And many insiders believed that if a deal for Giannis was to be made, Bridges would have been a centerpiece. With him now locked in and off limits for trade, it strongly suggests the Knicks are pivoting away from blockbuster trade talks, not just for Giannis, but for any major star. This doesn't mean the Knicks are standing pat. According to tonight's report, they're shifting focus to free agency and exploring smart, short-term deals to maintain depth without blowing past cap restrictions. They're in position to add value without panic spending, and that's the sign of a front office that's playing chess, not checkers. So as we wrap up this segment, the message is clear. New York has a plan. They've locked in their stars on smart contracts. They're avoiding cap landmine. They're keeping a contender intact while still having enough flexibility to pounce when the next opportunity arises, whether that's in July, at the deadline, or next summer. That's going to do it for tonight's update here on SportsCenter. If you're a Knicks fan, it's time to feel confident in the direction this team is heading. Whether it's Robinson's future, Bridges' deal, or the front office's vision, the Knicks are all in on chasing something special. Stay tuned. Because as the season approaches, this front office might not be done yet.